We've all been there, right? In a relationship where someone keeps saying, I love you, but their actions are screaming something totally different. So in this explainer, we are going to cut through all that noise and figure out what true love actually looks like.
Okay, let's just start with a really direct question. Just take a second and think about this. If you genuinely, truly, with all of your heart loved someone, would you cheat on them? The answer to that question, well, it's at the very core of everything we're about to unpack.
So check this out. This is a quote from a client talking to a relationship coach. She'd been with her boyfriend for 4 years, but he'd cheated on her at least 4 times. And let's be real, at least 4 usually means a whole lot more. She was so hung up on his words, but he says he loves me, and completely ignoring the one action that shouted the exact opposite. And hey, it is not a one-sided thing. Here's another real-life situation. A guy who swore he loved his girlfriend was also cheating on her with a married woman. And his brilliant solution? He didn't want to change a thing. He wanted to keep both of them. It's just a classic case of wanting the feeling of love without any of the commitment. So what in the world is going on in these kinds of messy situations? You've got people who feel like they're in love, but their actions are just completely off the rails. This, right here, is the classic trap of being drunk in love. You're confusing those intense feelings for the real thing.
And this brings us to a super important point. I want you to let this one sink in. True love that is not backed up by the right action is not true love. It's really that simple, and at the same time, that complicated. See, words are cheap, but actions are the evidence.
This disconnect isn't just about a few individual heartbreaks. It's actually a huge societal issue. We all say love is the reason for commitment, but if you look at the data, something is going wrong on a massive scale. Think about this for a second. A recent survey shows that a staggering 9 out of 10 Americans say love is a really important reason to get married. So clearly, we value love as like the foundation for our biggest commitments in life. But here's the huge paradox. If 90% of us marry for love, how do we explain these numbers? 50% of first marriages fail, 67% of second marriages fail, and an absolutely mind-blowing 73% of third marriages end in divorce. There is a massive disconnect between what we believe about love and what's actually happening.
So that leads us to the million-dollar question, right? If love is the whole reason we get together in the first place, why is it so terrible at actually keeping us together? What are we all missing here?
Well, the problem might just be that we're using one single word, love, to describe a bunch of very different feelings. So to find the answer, we have to understand that not all love is created equal. Let's break it down.
Okay, first up, you have philia. This is that affection you feel for your friends, your family, your team. It's a love that's built on common ground, on loyalty, shared experiences. It's warm, it's essential, but it's not the kind of love that can sustain a romantic partnership all by itself.
And then there's eros. This is the one we all know. That intense, fiery butterflies in your stomach feeling. It's driven by physical attraction, by fantasy. Eros is incredibly powerful and exciting, but let's be honest, it's often short-lived. It's that drunken love feeling, and it can disappear just as fast as it showed up. So, here's the bottom line on this part. While both philia and eros are super important parts of being human, neither one of them has the strength to hold a relationship together through all the ups and downs of life. They're just incomplete.
All right, so if philia and eros aren't enough, what is? What's the real deal? Well, that brings us to the final and most important type of love, the kind that can actually go the distance.
The answer lies in a totally different kind of love, one with real strength, real endurance for the long haul. The ancient Greeks had a word for it, agape, true love. Yes, it's passionate, but it is powered by one single non-negotiable ingredient, sacrifice. Sacrifice is about giving up something you value for someone or something you value even more. It is the ultimate test, and it's the ultimate proof. So this idea of sacrifice sounds big, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? It's one thing to talk about it, it's a whole other thing to live it. Let's look at a story.
This story comes from a guy talking about his life back in college. He was throwing these massive parties and, as he put it, was basically living like Hugh Hefner, with women always around. His life revolved 100% around his own pleasure and his ego.
But then, he met a woman he was actually truly falling in love with, and she wasn't about to compete for his attention. This was what you'd call a kairos moment, a critical moment of decision. On one side, you have the life he knew, the parties, the attention, the other women. And on the other side, this one person who offered a real shot at true love.
And he chose. He made a decision. He made a sacrifice. He stopped throwing parties. He stopped spending time with other women, all so he could have and keep the one woman he truly loved. This wasn't just some fleeting feeling. It was a concrete, deliberate action. A painful choice for sure, but a necessary one.
And what was the payoff for that sacrifice? Well, a few years down the road, they were married with 2 amazing kids. The sacrifice wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of a committed, lasting relationship built on a foundation way stronger than just feelings.
So, what's the big takeaway for all of us here? This idea of love is sacrifice. It can act like a compass, like a true north for figuring out our own relationships.
You know, when you understand that real love requires sacrifice, it gives you the strength you need to make those tough choices. It empowers you to stop playing games, to finally quit destructive habits that are hurting your partner, and even to seek help when you need it, all for the purpose of building something healthy and built to last.
And that leaves all of us with one final, very personal question. Take a look at your own life, your own relationships. What are you willing to sacrifice for true love? The answer to that question? Well, it'll tell you everything you need to know.